Welcome, everyone, to our webinar, Accelerate Customer Experience Innovation with Smart Integrations Across the Enterprise. I'm Sabrina Baksh, Vice President of Sales at UpstreamWorks. Our facilitator today is Darren Mulligan, Vice President of Solutions Engineering. In previous webinars, we've touched on our integration capabilities, and it's one of the topics that we've received the most interest in terms of doing a deeper dive. So today, we'll be talking about, but more importantly, demonstrating some of our integration capabilities. We found that integration is one of the key areas that make UpstreamWorks for Finesse so valuable to our partners and customers. It allows our customers to maximize investments and unify various systems, applications, databases, and new technologies and deliver a compelling return on investment. We hope you'll find this informative. If we have any time at the end of the webinar, we'll answer questions, so please feel free to submit them through the chat window, and we'll get to them if we can. If time is short, we'll be sure to address them after the webinar. So let's get started. Darren?
Thanks, Sabrina. Integrations are definitely a hot topic right now, and it begs the question why. So we'll set the stage today here with a bit of a look at the market and market drivers, and then get an understanding of how a great integration strategy helps. We're then going to go into some specifics about the different integrations we're highlighting today and go through a demo for each one. We'll wrap it up with a bit of a discussion on next steps for leveraging integrations for the success of your business. So let's take a look at what's happening in the market right now. So there's four key drivers that we see. Digital workplace transformation. Organizations today are looking to break down barriers and improve employee experience and productivity. They want to move beyond the boundaries of geographies or departments. The digital workplace empowers people to build communities of interest, drive knowledge management, and collaborate. Predictive care. This is about having a timely and accurate understanding of your customers so that you can anticipate their needs and be proactive in offering them solutions, products, and services. You can think of this as moving beyond first contact resolution into no contact resolution. And chatbots and self-service. Customers today want to have the option to solve their own issues without escalating to a person. Also, APIs, improving your KPIs. According to Coleman Parks research, we are in an API economy where enterprises with advanced API management processes are seeing up to a 47% better business result and are twice as likely to express confidence about differentiating themselves from their competitors. So let's take a look at the problem, disintegration. We have separate systems, different departments, information databases, and they don't speak to each other. This is the #1 performance bottleneck, priority, and tech challenge. Agents suffer through it. Every keystroke they have to, or I should say every extra keystroke they're entering, the large margin for error in businesses, they recognize the issue with this. There's inefficiency and inaccuracy issues. And it's a technical challenge. You have different systems and platforms, hosted, premise-based, et cetera, et cetera. It's also the #1 source of complaints for agents and a frustration for customers. Agents suffer through different windows, re-entry of data. Customers spend time repeating themselves or waiting for agents to move from one application to the next. And the end result is often inconsistency and inaccuracy. So how do we get past this big roadblock for contact centers? So we're going to take a look at CX across the enterprise. It starts with a smart integration strategy that is more than just screen pops. With a solid integration strategy, there's a huge opportunity for productivity gains and a fast ROI and a future-proof solution that will create customer stickiness and loyalty. By connecting everything together, whether it's SaaS, premise, or cloud, you can share critical data and streamline all your workflows, resulting in efficiency gains. With a single desktop, you're simplifying the agent experience while also improving customer experience, increasing loyalty and long-term business value. And then think beyond the contact center to the enterprise. Those boundaries are disappearing, so the plan for accessibility across the accessibility across the departments with APIs and innovative integration strategy that makes the solution future-proof. And this is where we come in with UpstreamWorks for Finesse. The challenge of CX journeys is that they span departments, they span channels, they're across self-service or assisted, bots, campaigns, surveys. UpstreamWorks for Finesse allows you to pull all this information together in order to provide continuity and consistency, and more strategically, mine the information for understanding your operations and planning for the future. The UWF Omnichannel API integration model is designed to allow your applications to plug into UpstreamWorks across the life cycle of a contact, from when a contact enters in channel extensions, as it goes through the routing layer and channel handlers and the agent presentation layer at desktop integration. Your applications have access to the upstream application all the way through the process, right into the point where your records are added into the interaction history and reporting databases. We understand and continue to improve on our API set because it's important for your applications to be able to access throughout the life cycle of a contact. So we're going to take a look at 5 different integration types today. We're going to look at bots. Then we're going to look at CX journey behaviors, most importantly, CRM integrations, and then WFO, QM, WFM integrations. And finally, we'll take a look at channels. So let's start off with bots. Bots is a hugely important area. There's so much change going on with respect to bots now. What we're going to look at initially is a bot interaction where it escalates into the call center. We'll also look at some self-service knowledge on the web with an escalation as well. And throughout, we're going to be taking a look at the consistency of the information. We'll also mention Google topic models. I'll cover that in my next section. But first, let's start with a video clip looking at bot integrations. So we're going to begin with a chatbot. And this particular chatbot has a few talents. One of them is scheduling, and the other is knowledge. So it'll begin by taking a look at the particular customer who's contacting us. So we'll have Holly Najara contact us, and there's an appointment upcoming for Holly, and the bot recognizes that and presents it and confirms that appointment. And then as it turns out, we can't make it. So we're going to rebook the appointment. It comes up with a suggestion for a different one, and we'll actually accept that and kind of move on. And now we're kind of moving into a knowledge piece. So what other information? We're asking about chip and PIN cards, and there's a few different articles on that that are applicable. And the bot's basically dialoguing with the customer in a friendly way, providing information based on what they're looking for. But there's a bottom to bots, and that's when you get into escalating to an agent. So credit scoring was the bottom. The bot couldn't handle it. And now we're moving into an agent escalation. So that session now moves in here. The bot's still involved, but the agent is now on the session. And what's really important here is the cohesion of dialogue. So the dialogue that took place with the bot passes in, the agent can see it, they can review it, and then they can take action on it and respond appropriately to the customer without having to ask for anything to be filled in. Now we're going to take a look at self-service knowledge. So we have a knowledge base. This is UW Assist. We can go in, we're looking up why our payment that was made 10 days ago hasn't appeared. The knowledge article said it should have appeared 5 days ago, so we're going to choose to contact the center. And as we start to enter information, the knowledge is coming up and suggesting a few other articles that might be relevant. We're taking a look at those. But our real issue has to do with a 10-day delay on what should have been a 5-day transaction. So we're going to escalate this into the contact center, and we're going to get an agent to attend to it. So that escalation turned into an email. The email comes into the center. The agent can see the initial request from the customer about the issue on the payment, but more importantly, they can also see all the information that was searched already, and the agent can go back into their knowledge base, pull that information up, take a look at it, and we don't end up suggesting to the customer to look at a document they've already looked at. So that's a little on web self-service, web escalation. The next thing we're going to take a look at here is topic model, and I'll just touch on this real quick. Topic modeling is an AI technology, so it allows you to classify communications automatically, and it does it in a self-learning way. So we did this presentation for Cisco Live Barcelona with a buddy of mine, Darko, and we put this together. It's an integration with Google AI. And the way it worked is basically the topic model was built out of raw email data using a lot of technologies I don't particularly understand, but fortunately Darko did. And we then hooked into the UpstreamWorks server to actually use the topic model to route emails. And then that would put them into the proper queues. The net result was we built an automatic email classification system. So it just looked at raw email bodies and subjects and used the content in the emails against that AI-driven topic model to actually figure out what type of email it was. So really interesting and sophisticated technology coming together there in a fairly practical way. Let's talk about CX journeys now. So that's the next one on the list. And for CX journeys, we're going to take a look at a few different things here. We're going to look at customer experience, web journeys, and some of the less desirable journeys like fraud. So we're going to begin with a different clip here. Just hold on a second, I'll kick it up. And this clip focuses initially on the Upstream desktop. So how do we present information to the customer? We have a beautiful area where we can put little data chips in, and you'll see that in the top right. And that allows us to bring information from back-end systems forward. So as we accept this, we load those chips up with information. And this first one is the CX dashboard. So your NPS metrics, customer effort scores, and the like are available in a summary form and also in a drill down form. So this was an integration we did to a company called CloudShare, a good partner of ours. The next data chip we're going to look at here is on web journey. So it allows you to actually go and track your web journey across your website before the customer reaches the contact center. So this is very useful if it really helps for your agents to know that journey through the web to you. And you can view that in the same two-step model where you can drill into it if need be. This third data chip is accounts. And what's really neat about this one is the accounts are summarized on the desktop in Upstream, but if you need to get into the account system, you can with one click. Now we're into the fraud section. Fraud, in this case, we're tracking fraud based on the interaction history within Upstream, and we're seeing multiple authentication failures, and we have a rule built that says after so many failures, we want to alert the agent if the customer comes in is not identified themselves. So a little bit of rules here, but the big power of Upstream there was getting that notification right in front of the agent so they could be alerted to it and take action on it. The next scenario we're going to look at in fraud is a little different. It's an integration to a third party. So in this case, it was White Pages, and we did a phone number lookup. Same idea, though. When the phone number lookup came back, we found that there was a potentially fraudulent number, and we were able to use the same alerting mechanism to get that in front of the agent and let them know. As we go forward, we're looking at working with quality management systems that also do fraud detection and using those alerts, which could be over the course of a phone call with your agent, popping notices up as well. So that was our, and we'll go into the next piece of our presentation here, which is about CRM. CRM is really important for Upstream. So CRM is the heart and soul of the enterprise with respect to contacts, and we need to be able to integrate with it within the Upstream world, because it does some very important things for us. And we'll begin with this video clip showing one of the most important things CRM does for us, which is help us identify customers. So if we have a customer call in and we don't know who they are, in this case, we have someone calling from their office. There's a number of people in the office with the same phone number, office phone number, and through a dip into the CRM, we're able to pull back all this information, detail information, use it to identify the contact, and then make that our current contact in Upstream. And now we're ready to go. We can pop into hosts, we can pop into CRMs, we can do different things with that contact. The first thing we're going to do in this case is we're going to pop into Salesforce. So we're actually popping two different CRMs in this scenario. The first one is Salesforce. The second one will be Dynamics. We can do the same in either of those technologies. So everything I talk about is applicable to both of them. So as we pop into CRM here, which is the Dynamics system, you'll see the record. And actually that contact information on the left side was the information that we saw in the contact selector. It's all been pulled from the CRM and presented to the agent within Upstream. In the middle panel, we have all the activities, and this is a product of Upstream publication. So these activities actually occurred in Upstream, and we systematically or automatically created records for them in the CRM. So this actually contains the email that was processed in Upstream, was sent over, and is stored as part of the CRM now. We've shifted into another scenario with CRMs here, which is case routing. So CRMs are also great for tickets and tracking cases and the like. And what we do is we allow the CRM to route those cases through the Upstream layer. So this gives you skilling, reporting, also gives you the consistency of interface and screen pop across systems. In this case, we're going to pop into the ticket itself within the CRM, and you'll see the ticket comes up, and it's actually a request for a callback. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a look at the ticket. We're going to collect the loan details. We're going to click on the contact themselves, and then the click to dial feature within this particular CRM is going to fire a call off through Upstream and the Finesse desktop. So you'll see it coming through here. The call is being generated. As it's answered, we receive a record to record that call that took place. So case routing, screen pops, lots of different technologies going on there. But most importantly, it's keeping the CRM up to date with information and using the information from the CRM to help identify customers. So let's look at workforce optimization. Upstream has some great feeds of work for the workforce management system to provide agent and queue activity information for forecasting purposes. What we're going to actually look at today, though, is more on the quality management side. So we're going to take a look at quality management voice playbacks. We're also going to look at how we score email and chat transcripts within a quality management system. So I'll start that clip up for us right now. So the clip begins, and we're going to begin within Upstream, and we'll have a contact come in, and we're going to go through the interaction history, and I'll show where the quality management playback comes within Upstream. So within the interaction history, we have a record of all kinds of different emails and chats that have gone on. And on the phone calls, and we'll click into a phone call here, you'll be able to see over on the detail side that there's a playback area. And what this is a recording by the quality management system that we can actually play back within this framework. Now, that's great to be able to do. Now, this was for the current contact, but the real power of Upstream is that all these records are searchable as well. So you can do ad hoc searches on customers or agents and the like, pull up those transcripts or the recordings and play them. You also, of course, have all the normal Upstream dialogues that you can go through within that interface. Let's go back to the current contact, though, and take a look at a bit of the history for this particular contact. So we have the voice recording. We saw that already. But following the voice recording, we had a chat. So we'll go and we'll click on the left arrow, and that'll move us into the chat. We can see a chat dialogue asking about a particular scanner order. And then following that, we had an email about the same scanner and some training on it. So a little bit of a history of communications on there. We're now going to move over to the quality management side. So this is traditionally where you would find your recordings like this one. This was actually the phone call that we had recorded. You can see it there and play it back. That's traditional quality management. That, however, that we're focused on there was the chat, and this is the email. So those transcripts are actually automatically moved into the quality management system and are now in the quality management system and available, of course, for the scoring process. So you can go through, you can have your different templates set up, pick up which one you want, and move right into the scoring model. So the idea here is We want the agents to be able to be scored on emails and chats in the same way they've been traditionally scored on voice calls. So as we open the email up, it's going to appear on the right-hand side. We can then look at the details of it, and we have the scoring mechanisms and answers for the different questions on the left side. And we can proceed through and score the agent's emails the same way we would have scored a voice call. Okay. We have one more clip here we want to share with you, and this is our clip which has to do with channels. So we're going to take a look at a few channels here: video and co-browse, social monitoring, Facebook Messenger, and visual cues. So these are fairly specialty channels. We're doing an awful lot with messaging right now, and that will be represented in this one by our Facebook Messenger channel. So let's start this up. We're going to begin with the video channel. So this is a relatively new channel for Upstream. We previously worked with Cisco Remote Expert Mobile. This is a little different. This is a separate video channel using TalkBox, actually. So in this case, we kick off, there's a video chat, we're going to create a session, and that's the customer-facing session. So that's my good friend Ryan in there. And as we go into the agent side, they receive that voice, and we now have a conversation between Ryan and myself taking place. This is the same call now from Ryan's perspective, where he saw me appear, I saw him appear. So that's one application. The next application is video escalation. So it's nice to be able to have a customer initiate a video session in, but quite often it's done as an offer from an agent. So that's what we're doing here. The agent's actually creating a session and going to offer that session to the customer who said already that they would be interested. So as that session goes out, we'll flip to the customer side. They're going to see the link come in, and then as they click on that link, that activates that video session and kicks it up. But it's pretty easy to get that type of video connection going. Let's take a look at co-browse now. Co-browse is a really interesting technology, absolutely terrific if you're doing support on your website or your agents are supporting customers on your website. In this case, the agents indicated to the customer over the call or a voice call how to initiate a co-browse. And the important thing is to get the identifier back to the agent, which can be done verbally when you're on the call. As soon as the agent starts up their co-browse session, they meet up with the customer, and now they're viewing the customer screen. As the customer moves around on their screen, which we're going to do a little movement here to health, on the corresponding side, the agent then also moves over to health. So it's a follow me type process. Now there are some special controls. The first one I'll mention is the ability to give control to the agent. So normally the customer has control of the screen, but you can allow customers to give control to the agent. And once the agent's in control, they can then move around on the screen and the customer is following. Now you can put restrictions on this and allow agents only so much control. In this case, we're going to actually have the customer take control back by disabling the agent control, and then they can continue under private information. Now with private information, the important thing is sometimes you don't want that shared with the agent. So you can tag your site and you can have that information masked so the agent doesn't see it. So that was a quick run through co-browse. Social monitoring has also been around for quite a while with Social Monitor. We're looking at some replacements for it. This is one in particular that we're working with. And what we're doing here is we're doing a Facebook post. And as the post goes up, we'll view into the post. We can see it's been posted there. In the background, our Social Monitor app has picked it up and created an activity in Upstream for us to handle. As we bring that activity in, we then screen pop into this social application and we present that activity for processing. So you can see it right there, and we can go in and then comment on it. What we're going to do is actually do a little bit of a knowledge thing here, pick up some text to search on, and then paste that into our search and fire a search within the knowledge system, and then pick up a result to be used in our response. So as we go back, we can now comment on this particular post, enter in the information that's relevant for this customer, some of it from the knowledge base, and then we can actually post that back to them. You also have the ability to like a post, and we have the ability to disposition all these activities, and they will appear in the interaction history. Back on the customer side, as they look at the post, they can see the comment that came back from the contact center. They can see the like on it, and they can go in and show the comments and see what we sent through Upstream back to them on their Facebook page. So the last scenario, well, actually, second to last one is Facebook Messenger. So slightly different. This is about messaging now, not about Facebook posts. So it's really a communication. It's a back and forth where a Facebook post could be just a one-way or a one response. So in this case, we're opening a dialogue and we're handling the dialogue in our chat client. So you can see the chat client. There's an existing chat with Shelly. We're in here as Ben, and we're chatting back and forth. Other conversations go on though, right? So Holly jumped in there, she had a conversation, Ben responded, we can see his, but it's right in that chat interface that we're backing back and forth. Finally, we have our visual queue. So this is a really innovative technology for picking calls from queue. Inherently, Upstream has a visual queue for emails and chats. What we've done is extend it to allow you to actually see voice calls and pick voice calls. So that's an integration done with the IVR platform, either Express or CVP, and it allows agents to see and pick calls from queue. And as you pick calls from queue, they're removed from the record set so they don't appear anymore. So that's our final snippet of video for you today. What I'd like to do is highlight the depth and breadth of the Upstream integration set. So Upstream has a long, deep, and broad history of building integrations with our various partners. We've done many commonly used applications in data stores, but also not so common ones like homegrown applications or proprietary or niche applications and emerging technologies, which I show you a few today. We specialize in making even the most complex integration requirements simple and effective. So what we've looked at today only touches the surface. We encourage you to have a conversation with us about your specific goals, objectives, and challenges. There's a few ways we can get that discussion going. We can offer you demos. We're very happy to do demos, either on demand or a personalized walkthrough. We can also consult with you. Using our business impact discovery and assessment tool, we can help you identify gaps and efficiencies and opportunities for CX improvements. We are here to help you exceed and happy to do so. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Darren, and thank you to all of our participants for your time today. We'll be sending you a recording of the webinar, and if you've submitted questions, we'll take them up with you individually. Thanks again, and we hope to see you on our next webinar.